Don't be
Hey,
talking about my Christmas tree.
we just got on here. I mean, dang, it's darn Cree.
Shut up.
Oh my God, I did see your Christmas tree. You know what? You just bring the new year in all year. It's you know what?
No, it will not be all year.
Mm.
I
just
I
think
have intentions on
I
breaking that down and putting it in storage before the end of January.
in May. I feel like December should be all year round because I was born that month. And my name is Christy, and I go with Christmas because I'm such a gift.
You just thought that one all by yourself, huh?
No, my best friend calls me Christmas. He does. And then I added, I'm such a gift. Such a gift. I'm such a gift. My friendship is a gift.
I don't know what you'd say about me because I was born the day before Halloween and
Oh.
I'm not mischievous.
Oh.
I'm not. I'm such a sweet woman. Why are you laughing? This is no laughing.
Oh, man.
Even though my mom said I gave her a hard time as a young girl.
That was the horror of it.
Oh my gosh. That was a good one.
That was a good one, right? That was a good one. Way to go, Christy. So on today's topic of Darkery, we thought we'd come to you a little bit about relationships. And once those relationships are over, we're talking about if you're dating someone, if you were married to someone, but you've established relationships like with their family members, their friends. How do you handle those relationships once the relationship of you and that person are over? Do you still keep the relationship, or do you sever ties because you and that person are no longer together? Like, it's different when you're married because, if you have children, your children are still part of that family.
Right.
For me, it's the relationship. But as my kids get older, I allow them to establish whatever relationship they have with the other side of their family. And there are cousins and parents I still, speak with and have that. But it was funny that right after the divorce, it was Christmas time and I was like, okay, I'm not coming because by then my ex-husband was already with someone. And it just felt weird. Like I couldn't go to their house like I used to. And, my kids went, but I didn't go. Yeah, but I still had that relationship with his parents. So that was a little weird,
Yeah. Like giving that person the space to live their own life, right? Yet while still co-parenting.
Right.
So it's
right. That it was a little weird because I still had relationship like with the cousins and things like that, and it's you don't want to go at the time that maybe they're gonna be there, so it made it a little awkward or whatever, and especially right after the divorce, it was kind of like, okay, I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you with your girlfriend. That kind of thing. So. But after that, as far as like years later, it's a little bit easier, and especially also dating. So dating, sometimes I have established a relationship with like that person's parents or friends. Like you become like, especially if you're dating like long term, then you're just like you establish that relationship maybe with their kids.
Yeah.
Or with their friends.
Yeah.
So, I mean, have you had that?
Yeah. I actually had this, not sure if I would call it dating, but he actually has children, and his youngest daughter actually took a really good liking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I would see her, like she would hug me, we would talk, and
right.
So it was one of those things where it was like, okay, I had to make a decision as to whether or not I was going to continue to be a part of this situationship, right? Where you have this young girl who is definitely impressionable, and she wants her dad to be in a relationship. She wants her dad to to be married and to have all these, to have the finer things in life, because he gives so much to her at that time.
Okay.
She was a really young girl at the time. And because I saw no movement in terms of like a progress between him and I had to make the decision to say, because of this young girl, and because I don't want her to get attached to me, I'm going to remove myself from the situation. His parents, I know, yeah. So I knew his parents, I knew his family, I knew some of his friends, and everyone pretty much knew me. Like, they know my personality. We're all pretty cool. We laugh together, we cry together, we pray together, etc., right?
Right.
But there comes a point in your life where you have to make a decision to say enough is enough. Right. So in that instance, I had to walk away from my own sanity and to make sure that this little girl does not get too attached to me and get disappointed that I end up not being the woman that she wants to be with her dad long term.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just one example of where I had to walk away. Now, I do have examples of where I experienced hurt from on the other end, where people that I thought was loyal to me really weren't loyal to me. In a sense where I was married, and I felt like when that was over, for some reason, I thought that these individuals cared about me equally as they did my ex-husband. And that was a mistake that I made. That was a mistake that I made in for not questioning the status of the friendships. And I think that sometimes when we talk about, we need to make sure that we talk about and identify where we're at in our friendship, where we're at in this relationship, and you really have to gauge what this friendship really means.
I think you say that, and the funny thing is that every person that you encounter is a relationship with that person. Whether it's, your friends, your coworkers, there is a certain type of relationship with that person, and especially someone that you are around and you might share memories with, that you tend to think that it's gonna, if this doesn't work, I still got you. Like,
that's what I thought.
Right.
And I felt like over time, some of these individuals distance themselves. And because I witnessed that and I sensed that, I then withdrew from them. Like, so I wanted to make sure that I didn't, I protected me and I protected my heart. And that's not the kind of person or the friend that I am. Like, if I'm your friend, I'm your friend.
Right.
Right. And yes, I may not be the perfect friend, but let's just talk about it. Like, let's just talk about where we stand. And there was no discussion. It was like he and I were over. They basically followed him. And although there were some relationships or friendships that stayed, there were still some, I would say on my side, some resentment, only because I felt like everyone knew what was happening in my marriage or my relationship, so to speak, or even post-marriage, rather, not in the marriage, but post-marriage, that, and I was the only person without a clue as to what was happening.
Okay.
And so I'm not going to go into the details of what happened post separation.
Right.
But what I will say is that it was a hurtful situation for me at the time. And looking back at it, I realized that people are going to do, I realized it then, that people are going to do what they want to do, when they want to do it, how they want to do it, without any regard for your feelings. And that's why it's so important, it's so key that you are centered and you understand who you are and what you want. Because I'm going to tell you something. When someone leaves your life, when someone walks away from your life, and you don't set the right expectation for that particular friendship or that relationship, you can be crushed.
Right.
Even if you do have an expectation, I think that to a certain degree, we have to make sure that we're centered, that our world is not evolved around that individual. Right. Because when that person walks away, that's another opportunity for us to fall into pieces and to crumble and to feel as though that we've lost a piece of ourselves because our world was centered around that particular person.
Right.
And that is what happened to me in that situation. My world was centered around these individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they knew it or not, I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the one left the most hurt. Now, I'm sure that those individuals were probably hurt to a degree, but I was left the most hurt.
Right.
Because when I look around, I don't see those individuals.
Right.
You know? And so to protect me, to protect Darlene, I had to shut the door and close the door of that situation or that past, mm-hmm. and just move forward. And that was one of the hardest things for me to do.
I'm sure move forward. It is. I mean, moving forward is a hard part. I was engaged after, I started dating, and then years later, I was dating someone that I became engaged to, and he became really close to my kids. Mm-hmm. And, we dated on and off 5 years, and then we got engaged. And he was like that father figure to them. Mm-hmm. And the thing was, our relationship ended. We called the engagement off, and we ended. But the one thing he did was stay in touch with my kids. Like, he still kept that that sense of having a father figure. Mm-hmm. He was still there for them if they needed him. And even though he has moved on and, has since gotten married and everything, we're cool. I mean, we didn't work out, but I'm happy for him. Mm-hmm. And he still has a relationship with my daughter. And so that's, which is really cool, because we're done. But that relationship still goes on. Like, they, he'll call her or she'll call him if necessary, whatever. And that relationship stayed. So it does get to that point that, when you are dating someone and you have children, you have to think about the relationship that they build with who you're dating. Right. Right. So that's another thing. It's like,
and especially if it's a healthy relationship, like, it would be hard. I can only imagine that it would be hard for a parent to tell that child, no, you can no longer be friends or to have a relationship with that individual.
Right. And I was...
Especially as an adult, because she was an adult.
Yes, and she's an adult. Yeah. And moving on, he's been able to be in her life and help her, and which is really cool, because, he still considers her as his daughter. And I love the fact that he does that, So I think that is one of the things that you have to think about when you're ending a relationship. How do you handle that? How do you handle when you are dating and have kids? And, my biggest thing is I want to make sure that the hearts of my children are not necessarily hurt by the situation,
And how do you manage relationships that, mutual relationships that were built and somehow they may get lost after a divorce or a separation? Like, how do you handle? Yeah, and also being mindful that while we can't prepare for the ending of friendships following a divorce or a breakup, it's good to evaluate your friendships and the mutual friendships that you gain over the course of being in a relationship. Making sure that these relationships are relationships that you want to have in your life and that they're enhancing you as an individual. Because what I would hate for you to experience, if you've never experienced this before, what I went through is that I would hate for a relationship to come to an end, and the mutual friendships that you've built, or the individuals that the friendships that you built because of the other individual, having knowledge of their friends and building those type of relationships, is for those relationships to end abruptly and you're left standing by yourself feeling like no one is on your corner or on your side. And to be quite honest with you, loyalty is a big thing for many people.
Right.
And it's like, if I'm your friend, and a third person comes in, if your friendship severs with that person, like my friendship with you doesn't stop.
Right.
And that's the thing.
Right.
It's like you have to be
That's even with, like, say for instance, not even when you're dating someone, but say, there's three of you and the three of you have a relationship with this one person, but maybe you didn't get along with that person or something happened. My relationship with that person should not change. Like, it should not change, even though that me and you are really cool.
Change. And if you're establishing a friendship, regardless of what happened in the dynamics of it, you have to be mature enough and evaluate whether or not it's a good thing to remain in that friendship with whoever it is that walked away or who had to walk away, because ultimately it's your life.
Right.
It's your choice.
Right.
And whoever's supposed to be there will be there. And if your friend wants to feel some type of way, then they're going to feel some type of way. Either they're going to stay or they're going to walk away if they choose to be friends with someone that they're no longer friends with.
I will say this though. Yeah. All my friends, and I'm going to say female friends, I love them dearly. They're like sisters to me. Mm-hmm. And whether if they're married or in a relationship, mm-hmm. I am cool with their significant other. But if that ends, I'm severing ties. Because they were my friends first. So I'm severing all ties with their significant other. Like, if she hates him, I'm probably going to hate him too. Like,
I won't hate him, but if it's
what I mean.
But if it's that important to her, and I haven't really built a friendship with the person,
right? I'm just cool.
Yeah, if I'm just cool with you, and I just said hi and bye because you were around and you were my girl, then really it doesn't cost me anything.
This is me. Deuces. Like,
I'm sorry, you and my girl are not together anymore, but
this is it. We are all moving on. Like,
you really have to make a wise decision as to how you want to maneuver through all of the different friendships that you have.
That's true.
And every situation is different, and you can't treat each of them the same.
It's true. That is true, because the funny thing is that most of the guys I've dated after my divorce, we're gonna say after my divorce, I am cool with. So there's a I was in some long-term relationships, mm-hmm. and they didn't work, mm-hmm. for whatever reason, and I'm actually cool with them. Like, if I see them, hey, how you doing? Some of us are friends on Facebook. Like, I'm cool. Like, I have one that me and him are still cool, and I'll ask him, like, how's your mom doing? Or I was friends with his daughter. Like, his daughter was born the same day as my daughter. She's just older. Wow. And I'm just like, at one point, I'm like, how's she doing? Like, how's everything doing? Like, just that everything's cool. But I decided to let go of any hurt feelings I may have had in that relationship. Yeah. It's done. It's over with. We are no longer together. Yeah. I wish them the best. It wasn't meant for us. Everybody is a reason, season, or a lifetime. And we had our season. We had that reason. And it is time to move on. So we're cool. But I still have some relationships with them, and that's kind of cool to be like, hey, how you doing? You okay? Everything's good with you? Yeah. And then I'm good. Yeah. I'm done. And
it's okay if you reach out to some of those individuals from time to time and say, hey, how are you doing? If you feel led to do so, When
my father passed, my ex, who I was engaged to, actually reached out to me and asked me, am I okay? Do I need anything? Which was really good, because I was going through a tough time. But he did check on me and to see if I was fine. Yeah. My ex-husband checked on me to see if I was okay. So, even though those relationships are done, we still have a bit of communication where things are just like, hey, I'm cool. Like, that's that part of my life is over, and, it's time to move on. But I do, like I said, if my friends are in something, I'm definitely there for the friend.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Relationships and on any form, it's just complex. Anything to do with people is just complex.
It is.
Because you're just dealing with so many things, so many variables, our emotions, the situation itself, trying to decide what's the truth, and it can be complex. And I just think that we really have to do our due diligence to try to make the best decisions and best choices when it comes to our friendships.
Yeah.
And when is it okay to protect our peace when we feel like, okay, this particular season of our friendship or our relationship is over.
And do you let go? I think the one thing is when to let go.
When to let go.
When to let go,
And that can be hard for many people, letting go.
When to let go. And, as far as if you've established something with a significant other's family or friends, do you, the question is, do you keep that or do you let go of it? The friendship or the relationship, when to let go of that. So I think the big thing here is to say, how do you handle that? Have you been in that situation? And if you've been in the situation, how have you handled, if you're keeping a relationship after a breakup? Mm-hmm. So let us know.
Let us know. Hit us up at the Dark Creek Talk Show.